Okay, today we're going to talk about sentences, simple sentences, and compound sentences. So, I have to understand first what's a sentence. Why is this important? Because if you can identify a sentence, you have the basic building blocks that you'll need to be able to identify anything else. Dependent clauses, independent clauses, and you'll see why this becomes important as we go along. So, sentences have two essential parts: subject, predicate. The subject tells us who or what, and the predicate tells us what about it. What happens, the action that takes place. So, we've got some samples. Who or what was he? What action took place? Smiles in the first example. The park district will open an outdoor ice skating rink in November. Second sample. Who or what is the park district? The action that takes place is opening an ice skating rink. So, you have the two parts. They connect to form a basic sentence. An independent clause. Why is this important? Well, an independent clause has to be able to stand alone and have a subject and predicate, so it functions as a sentence in some ways. But if you can find an independent clause in a sentence, you can start to make your writing more complex by first starting with compound sentences. Let's go over this again, though. An independent clause must be able to stand alone and have a subject and predicate. So we've got a sample. Michael bought a new car. Michael is the subject. Bought a new car. That's the full predicate. So Michael bought a new car. Okay, that tells us what we need to know from that sentence. The hero of any story is the one who, in the end, does the right thing. More complex. Still, we have to find the subject. That's the hero. What did the subject do? He was or is the one who, in the end, does the right thing. So, independent clauses. Once you are able to identify an independent clause, you can use a coordinating conjunction to join two independent clauses. So, the coordinating conjunctions show a relationship between those two thoughts. It makes your writing more complex because you're able to build more complex ideas by putting just two simple independent clauses together. These are your coordinating conjunctions, affectionately known as the fanboys. They are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So, if you want to use one of the coordinating conjunctions, what you need is an independent clause on one side, an independent clause on the other side, and you must use a comma before the coordinating conjunction. This is how a coordinating conjunction is used in a sentence. This is what the sentence must be punctuated like. So, you always put the comma before the fanboy anytime that you make and join independent clauses into a compound sentence. Here's our examples. The moose was standing in the forest. It was hard to see through the trees. Police were looking for the suspect. He ran behind the barn to hide. So the first one, the moose was standing in the forest, comma, and it was hard to see through the trees. Those are two equal thoughts now. Why? Because we used the word and. Police were looking for the suspect, comma, but he ran behind the barn to hide. Using the but, you're able to see that it's because he ran behind the barn to hide. It shows a contrast to the fact that the police were looking, he ran behind the barn. It's more complex when you add them together. This is why you use coordinating conjunctions. You choose and if you're going to add an idea, but and yet show contrast between the two independent clauses used, or nor show comparison, so it's this or that. You indicate a result by using so. We went to the movies, so we had to spend tons of money on popcorn. So that explains why. It shows what was the result of going to the movies. To indicate cause, you use for. We went to the movies for we were tired of sitting around doing nothing. It's a slightly antiquated construction. We don't really use for that way much anymore, but all the same, it shows why we did something, what was the cause. So that is the essence of coordinating conjunctions. We'll have you try some of your own soon.